Hi, dear viewer. So today we are jumping straight into an event that is happening in Delhi, in India. It's the 21st Delhi International Open. And yeah, what is immediately, eye-catching in this event is that in the very first round, a 10-year-old, 10, manages to beat a Grandmaster, Grigoryan Karen, in one of the high balls, I think, what, nine. And yeah, an amazing result by this 10-year-old. And I'll be focusing on the game. Yeah, the 10-year-old is now, there's been now four games that have been played. He's got two and a half out of four. And yeah, all to play for. Let's see how he's going to do in the end. So this particular game, though, I am not going to have a look at it in terms of the correctness of the game, but rather I want to look at it from the point of view of the 10-year-old Vairaj Sogerwal, and to kind of show some nice fighting qualities that he has. Let's jump into the game. So uh, d4 and uh, plays g3, and Grigoryan rightfully plays e5, kind of wanting to steer the game away from a lot of mainline theory, which the youngster most probably has gone through, possibly with his coaches. And yeah, so in this position, but it's no big deal. White should just continue, normal knight c3 and so on. But the youngster decides to take, because I think also, in his mind, he feels that, because of course when you are young, you think of the queen as having so much power. And I think in his mind, going into an endgame without a queen against a grandmaster increases in his chances to draw. I think that's his motivation. Anyway, he goes on, plays knight c3. So Grigoryan plays f6. So the idea is to overprotect e5, and then possibly in an ideal world, Black would then want to exchange his black squared bishop with white's black squared bishop, right? Okay. Anyway, bishop d2, bishop b6, and castles. So quite a tricky customer is going into a pattern. Of course, Black cannot play bishop takes c4, because he would play bishop h6, discover check, and then pick up the bishop, of course. But I'm sure he's not expecting the grandmaster to fall for that one. Knight d7. He plays b3, protecting the pawn. H5. So yeah, everything is going according to plan. For Grigoryan, he wants to play maybe a bishop h6 at some point, bishop g2. He plays king c8, gets out of the pattern. And the youngster plays h4. Okay. Knight h6. So yeah, possibly wants to go knight g4. And the youngster chops the knight off immediately. He just takes the knight away. And okay, normally this strategy is not maybe the very best in the position, but I think he felt like the knight is a problem and decides to capture it. Of course, in this position, Black is very, very comfortable, and Black is having a small little advantage, two bishops at control of the center. All right. Okay, now the youngster plays e4, and immediately when he plays e4, he weakens the square d4, and Grigoryan plays bishop g4, possibly wanting to capture the knight and then put the knight on d4. But I think this is already a sign of him sort of a little bit underestimating the opponent, because I don't think he would have played bishop g4 had he seen this move. The youngster is very resourceful. So the youngster plays bishop h3. And yeah, I mean, he's there's problems that may happen on on d7. So, yeah, who knows what will happen? I mean, if you take here, um, possibly I can take check, and if king d8 take, or maybe, yeah, it's not so clear, but maybe the other variation is that, of course, I can just possibly take like this, rook takes d7 also, maybe. And if bishop takes h1, I should be, I can immediately get a draw if I want to, like check with the bishop, and then if you play king d8, perpetual check, something like this. But generally, yeah, all in all, we can all agree that had Gregorian seen bishop h3, probably would not have played bishop g4, right? It just somehow, I guess, started underestimating the opponent. But nonetheless, the youngster is resourceful. So yeah, the youngster has made a big progress. He's managed to exchange the bishop. And yeah, he still has some problems some things to deal with, but nonetheless, okay. At least now that monster of a light squared bishop is gone, and okay. So 6 is played. He goes back with the rook. Now plays rook d6, rook e6, doubles his rook. Very logical. Bishop f8, plays rook d7, hoping to stay on the 7th rank. Bishop e7 is stopped, he goes back. Because there's danger now, yeah? The danger is that there could be knight d4 and the rook could be trapped. So he moves it back, bishop c5. So defense f2, yeah, and black is making progress. Knight e6, a3, plays b4 and king b3. And from here, to get really impressed by how resourceful this 10-year-old is. After a5, black wants to capture on b4 and play possibly rook a1, right? To invade. Stops this with rook d1. No, Mr. Grandmaster. Not today. There's an exchange and plays bishop to g7. And now he plays c5. So all of a sudden, he starts to be ambitious. c5 is a nice move because he controls the two squares, b6 and d6. Maybe knight a4, knight b6, and rook d7 and things like this. Okay, g5 is played. He exchanges, plays rook d6, rook e8, and now knight a4. Now have a look at this one. g4, knight h4. Now the knight is ready to go to f5, bishop f8, back, check, king b2, back, and a very nice, again, a very resourceful idea. Because here you would expect that white is collapsing, but no, he has something in mind. He plays knight f5. This is really nice. So the opponent captures and wins a pawn, but now, boom, knight b6. It's threatening checkmate. So, okay, the Grandmaster takes on f2, king c3. Let's us imagine that black does absolutely nothing. Let's say bishop e3, just, a nothing move. Then white will play rook d7 check. King b8 is the only move. Then rook d8 check. And if you play king c7, rook c8 would already be checkmate. And if you play king a7, then rook a8 is already checkmate as well. So yeah, he's fighting back. But this concept is very nice because here he is actually down 2 pawns. But so after rook f7 stopping this, we can actually see that he has played for this position, the 10-year-old. And now he plays knight a8 check. So what will Grigoryan do? If Grigoryan plays king c8, then it is a perpetual check with knight b6 and knight a8 check. So king b8 check threatens checkmate once again. The threat is rook a8 mate. So rook goes to f8. rook d1. Now he's threatening check, king b8, knight d7 check. But now the thing is that there is nowhere to place the rook. Nowhere to place the rook. For example, because you see, if you leave the 8th rank, you get checkmated. Because rook a8 check, king b8, rook. This is funny. rook a8 check, king c7, and rook c8 checkmate, right? So you'd want to stay then with the rook somewhere, but where do you stay? I mean, where do you move to? Because then you're not protected by the bishop. Yeah, like for example, if you go rook g8, you will lose this rook because then rook a1 check, king b8, rook check, and takes the rook. Ooh la la. What does the Grandmaster play now? Well, he plays e4. Um, so his idea with e4 is that if white plays rook a1 check, he will play king b8. Now, check king c7, and we are out because the rook is protected. And if you play knight d7 check, king c7, knight takes f8, then I have bishop g7 check. And then I pick up the bishop. And remember, your pawns are on black squares, so I will still take them. So I think in his heart of hearts, Grigoryan is hoping that the, the youngster goes for this. But the youngster is calm and collected. He just plays king c4. So king c4, now he's getting out of that pattern. Now he's ready to check and take and pick up the rook. I'm sure now a crowd was building. Oh God. I'm just imagining this. I mean, a 10-year-old kid struggling to even reach the other side of the board, right? And you've got this grandmaster sweating, uh, sweating a river, right? And this 10-year-old kid on the other side, almost struggling to possibly standing on the chair even. Wow. So he plays bishop g7, stopping rook a1, rook d2. Ooh, the little boy wants him dead. He wants to play rook a2 check, rook a8, and no, check, and knight d7. Little boy wants him dead, Plays e3, check, check, takes the rook, and now the little boy is winning. King goes to d3 and goes like this because picks up the pawn. And now the technique is actually quite nice. He's going now for this g4 pawn, grabs the pawn, and takes the other pawn. Now we've got this position, but it's actually very tricky. And the little boy has to be careful not to, because if he plays c6 and the pawns are exchanged, it's a draw. So he has to somehow figure out a way of advancing his king. And okay, he waits a while and he's figuring it out, and now he's got it. He plays, you see, he defends his pawn. Not bad for a 10-year-old, because his idea is that if check is going to go king c7 and then goes king c8. It's a nightmare for Grigoryan. Grigoryan plays bishop a7, rook d5. Of course, if you push the pawn, the boy will play c6. So he goes back, and now goes rook d8. And now rook d7. b7 is hanging, and is going to fall. Back. Boom. And it decides to resign. What is he going to do? Now the position is very easy to win. A very nice achievement by a 10-year-old. And it really shows his resourcefulness. I mean, okay, of course, we can see the game, wasn't as clean as all that, but nonetheless, the ideas that he had, and for his age, beautiful, well played, Vairaj Sogerwal. So yeah, there we go. First round, the GM already fell. So yeah, we will be keeping an eye on the 21st Delhi International event, because there's always in India, the players are so underrated and so strong, so there's always chances for upsets. So should be very interesting to see what will happen. All right, till next time, checkmate.